cease so my mind don't erupt. At times I feel I can't get enough, but I sip a double cup, then I spin a couple bucks. Sending out some love to my blood, to my girl, to my buds, to the homie up above.
Well, good evening, everyone. Live Friday night, February 9th, to discuss the film Gangs of New York. So if you're not familiar with Gangs of New York, people, it is a based on true story account that happened back in the late 1800s. It is based off of a book called Gangs of New York by Herbert Ashbury. And so, you know, this is one of the next ones we decided to discuss and talk about, this 2002 epic film that, you know, is surprisingly, this is not the director's cut for how long this film is. Martin Scorsese actually had almost a 4-hour long cut that he had created.
What a shock.
Before this is what they decided on for the theatrical release. So, you know, everyone, a lot of people I feel wish they would put out the director's cut because they're like, what did he leave out, you know? But I think 2.5 hours is pretty good for a film, especially one of this magnitude, I should say. I think they got everything across. But anyways,
what would you add for another hour? I don't understand. What could you add?
I know they could extend certain sequences. I personally wish they would extend the horror sequence. That would be my favorite scene that they could show.
If they're going to do that, they would have to at least split that time into like half like drama, you know, and like dialogue type stuff, and half just straight savagery.
There you go.
Right?
There you go, people.
Or sex too.
Well, I was just thinking sex altogether, but you know,
fuck! You know what, Cyber? I'm sorry, I forgot. You know, sex is a part of the equation.
Yes. Anyways, folks, you know, as always, we're the Bleeding Edge, and we like to go all the way out of the box and go insane. Anyways, so like I was saying, this comes in at a runtime of 167 minutes, which is 2 hours and 37 minutes. And I think that's a pretty decent runtime for a movie. I mean, it's shorter than Killers of a Flower Moon. It's around the same amount of time that Departed is. If you've seen any of other Scorsese films, they're usually around 2.5 mark, the theatrical releases anyways. So, I mean, this is pretty typical Martin Scorsese. So, yeah, this is directed, of course, by Martin Scorsese. Was released December 20th of 2002. This movie is 22 years old, people. I can't believe it's already that old. It still looks as pristine as it did when it came out in 2002. I think that this movie holds up very well. The writing, the story, the acting by everyone involved. It just is a really classic and really well done film. And just to kind of get the ball rolling, Jeff, when was the first time you watched this? Was it around 2002 or was it after it was released on DVD or Blu-ray? What was your first experience with this film?
I want to say, and I did not. I know for a fact I didn't see it anywhere near when it came out. It just, I heard how long it was, right? And I was young, so like you know how it is. I didn't go to the movies or like see movies like that at that point in my life. It wasn't such a more of a fixture, really. You know, at that point in 2002, I believe I was in college. No, I'm sorry, I dropped out of college, and that's when I was first with my first wife. Why I say my first, my only wife, my ex-wife. Jesus Christ. I guess I had another marriage. I can't remember, but no, I right around the same time that we had just met before we then had our first child. So I would have been maybe 19. And at that point, I don't know who that stranger is that's here, but at that point, I literally we went to the movies like once a year, 2 or 3 times a year every year. Like that was pretty much the deal. So. And then as far as following, the trending movies and whatnot, I just wasn't really in the know to where I knew what was, I couldn't know what a good film was. or knew much about film. I didn't know much about Scorsese back then. I only learned about that stuff when I got older. Now I know about it. I watched it probably, I'd say, in 29 or 2010, and I haven't seen it again until today.
Okay. So, Andreas, welcome, sir, to the Bleeding Edge tonight to discuss games in New York. I was just asking Jeff, ask you the same question. When was your first watch of Gangs of New York?
And then what year? What dimension?
Yeah. well. I had to be truthful. I never saw Gangs of New York. This is my first time ever today. So I obviously saw the exact timeline 2077 or 2077 or whatever you want to call it. So yeah, I'm a huge Scorsese fan. As you guys know, I love Casino, one of my favorite films of his filmography, and of course, I love Goodfellas. Love Taxi Driver, and he made so many great films, and sometimes you don't have a chance to see his films. So like this version, Gangs of New York, and I gotta say, I love it. It's great. I mean, it's top tier. The other film, the Howard Hughes biography that him and Leo did, that was a great film. So this one was top tier. I really enjoy it, and I'm excited to talk about it more.
All right. Thank you, sir. My first experience with the film was probably shortly after it came out on DVD, probably around 2003, 2004. And I really enjoyed it. And I just remember thinking, wow, this is, the one thing that drew me in about it when I saw the cover was that it was supposed to be during the 1800s. And I've always been a huge lover of like anything about the past and stuff like that, early 1900s, 1800s, 1700s, stuff like that. So that pulled me in right away to want to see this. Plus, then also seeing that, Leonardo DiCaprio was in it, Daniel Day-Lewis, I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like, should be interesting to check out. And I remember, watching it and walking away going, wow. I was just like really impressed with it. I really liked all the action in it. I liked the story, and I thought that it was a really well done movie. Until today, actually, I did not realize that this was based on a nonfiction book that is supposedly about the real gangs that were a part of New York at the time. And, I think probably down the road, I probably read that somewhere, and then I didn't remember that until just today. And,
oh my God.
I missed the spelling. Oh man, that was a good one too.
And, it's a really well done film. So, Andres, of course, welcomes everyone to our Gangs of New York review. So, welcome everyone. Anybody that watches this, thank you for watching. All right, so like I said, directed by Martin Scorsese. This was primarily filmed in 2001. It was actually finished filming by 2001, and it actually got delayed a whole year because of 9/11. That's supposedly why it got delayed. That's the reason they gave. Because at the end of the movie, of course, we see the Twin Towers, in which at that time the Twin Towers had just been blown up. So they thought that would not be great to see, so they waited a year to release it. So the footage that you're seeing is around 2000, 2001 from this film. So this film is over 24 years old. So I think it's kind of impressive that how good it looks on the 4K that they have on HBO Max, how well it looks. I think it still looks pretty pristine for its time. All right, so I thought we'd change it up, doing this review. I thought that we'd focus on certain aspects of the film versus going through all the stuff about this film, especially because it's a long film. Really focus on kind of the main points of the film and kind of that history. Because this movie really is a piece of history. If you think about it, it really tells the story of actual things that happened in New York in the late 1800s. So now this film, it was surprisingly was nominated for 10 Academy Awards, but did not win any awards during the 2003 Academy Awards. And I think it's kind of funny how, it got nominated for 10, huge awards: Best Picture, Best Director, Best Writing, Best Actor, so forth, stuff like that. But they didn't take home any for this film. I'm surprised Daniel Day-Lewis did not win the Academy for this role, because he was just so amazing in it and so fantastic. So to give you an idea of who's in this film, of course, like I said, Daniel Day-Lewis is in it. He plays William Cutting. We have, of course, Leonardo DiCaprio, who plays Amsterdam. Cameron Diaz, who plays the pickpocket chick, who definitely was miscast. I mean, everyone has said this a million times now over the last 20 years. They feel she was so wrongly cast in this, and I completely agree. I mean, yes, Cameron Diaz is a very attractive woman, but she did not pick or feature. What the hell? She did not.
There you go.
Look.
Cast list.
Yes. Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
She definitely didn't look like that era of people either. She just did not fit in. And a lot of people have said they think that, because she was so popular at the time is the reason why she got casted, because she was so popular. So, I definitely think this is probably one of Scorsese's worst castings he's done, was just that role. Otherwise, the rest of the film was beautifully casted. Another great, couple actors that were a part of this too, which Liam Neeson playing the priest or the father of Amsterdam at the beginning of the film. He was fantastic in it. Jim Broadbent as the corrupt mayor of this area. We had also Brendan Gleeson, John C. Reilly, Andy Marsden in this. I mean, a lot of big actors were in this film. Even De Niro and William Dafoe were actually supposed to be a part of this film, but unfortunately, conflicts popped up for the scheduling that they had to bow out of the film. But otherwise, we would have had that in it.
Yeah, it could have been the knife.
Don't worry, Jeff. I will ask questions since I'm moderating. Jesus fucking Christ,
folks! For once, I think I would. I would put the private chat up just so I could put myself down as True Knowledge.
Yeah.
Zip it, Zippy. Anyways, so guys, what were your guys' thoughts on the Cameron Diaz casting? Since Jeff brought it up, Andre, starting with you, what did you think about Cameron Diaz being casted in this?
I mean, that's what I heard before I saw the film. That was the only complaint I heard about this movie, is that Cameron Diaz was a miscast, and I agree. I mean, first off, you need to help me here. Was she trying to have an Irish accent, or like?
Yes, obviously, okay. Yes.
Okay, so first off, very bad. I mean, what? Like, so. I mean, first off, she's not the only one that has a bad accent, but we'll get to that. But like, I mean, like Leo, like at least Leo is trying, but with Cameron Diaz, it's just like, why? Like, it's just so bad. I don't know. I'm unsurprised that he, I mean, Marty is so good with casting, and like, why could he just pick one of the best top Irish actors that was working during that time? Like, there are a couple that I'm thinking, like some of the Braveheart, like I can imagine one of the Braveheart actresses can play this part better than Cameron Diaz.
Good point.
I'm just really shocked about that. I mean, I get that Cameron Diaz was the biggest box office draw. Remember, this is like 2 years after Charlie Angels happened, the 2000 film, and that was a huge hit. So I don't know. The Weinsteins told Garcia, you need Cameron Diaz, to boost the box office receipts. I'm like, come on, dude. You have Daniel Day-Lewis and Leo DiCaprio, who's coming off of Titanic. So you already have box office receipts. So I don't know. So I personally think Cameron Diaz is miscast. I was just baffled. So that's my opinion.
And also about DiCaprio at this time, from 95 through 2002, he was in one movie almost every single year up to that point. Because you got 95, he was in Quick of the Dead. 96, he was in The Basketball Diaries. 97, he was in Titanic. 98, he was in, I think that was the year The Beach came out. 99. 2000. Okay, Beach was 2000. I know he was in something in 98 and 99. I can't remember exactly what. He was also in Catch Me If You Can, which came out in 2002.
Yeah.
And then he had, of course, a few other films he was in throughout that time too, as well. Even if they weren't huge roles, he still was in a film. So I mean, he was a huge superstar at this point. He was in pretty much everything. So I unlike Cameron Diaz's casting, where it was just really Charlie's Angels, and then a couple years prior, something about Mary that made her big. It was 94 when she was in The Mask. So I mean, it was 4 years before she really was in another popular thing. So she was kind of popular because of Charlie's Angels, and so it was kind of still weird that they decided to cast her. Jeff, your thoughts on the Cameron Diaz casting?
Well, one thing I wanted to bounce off you, Cyber, was you thought that her look, I believe that she just didn't look. Her look in general was not a good connection or a fit for being able to effectively adapt to the period piece sort of look.
Yep.
Okay, I get it. But in general, though, do you think she made an effort at least to try to be somewhat, decent at the character? I thought she did.
She did okay.
The accent wasn't that bad.
Accent was horrible.
Really? I thought it was at least like okay. But
she didn't even sound like a leprechaun. And usually people that sound like a leprechaun, people are like, that's not too bad. She didn't sound like a leprechaun. She just sounded like somebody trying to do an Irish accent, which just was bad.
As a precursor, I'm saying that based on the fact that, as you already said, she's not that great of an actress, right? Like, that's it. She did the Charlie's Angels stuff. Charlie's Angels was like, fluff action stuff and whatnot, everything. It was almost, it wasn't like a serious dramatic shit. She's not a great actress. So for her, I thought that she pulled off a decent accent with that in that context. But I think Andres makes a great point. I never thought about it, but when you're going to have a cast like that solid in terms of the caliber of the actors and actresses in the film, or at least the actors, to me, I'm a little bit shocked. I don't understand why Scorsese would have given a shit or felt it necessary to inject someone like Diaz into the film in that such a pivotal role as the main female lead in the film, based off of popularity, essentially, not talent or ability. It surprises me because Andres makes a good point. There are a lot of really cheaper, probably too, much more probably from your perspective, Cyber, actresses at that point that they could have gotten from Ireland or from the UK, right? That maybe would not have had that prestige or brand or name brand title kind of popularity, but would have really been probably more effective in being more, as you said, or suitable or fit as a character of that time, and maybe on top of it, the actual acting. So at that point, although I thought she was okay, I think you guys kind of make a really good point. The film probably could have been a lot better if they just wanted to cast somebody better in that role.
True. All right, guys. So, a little bit more information about this. So, like I was saying, this movie is really a lot of information about history that happened back in the 1800s. So, this movie primarily takes place in 1862 and 1863, right around the time of the Civil War was going on. And Lincoln had freed the slaves. And the movie basically starts out, in 1846 with the two rival gangs fighting each other. Liam Neeson, of course, plays Leonardo DiCaprio's father. At the beginning of the film, he ends up getting killed. And, we have that huge battle that goes on in that first beginning sequence, which I think is a really prominent sequence of this film, as well as the ending sequence of the battle as well. So what I want to get from you guys is, what were your thoughts on that battle at the beginning of the film? What did you think of Liam Neeson's character, and what did you think about the introduction to Daniel Day-Lewis's William Cutting in that film? And what would you say your overall thought process was on this whole conflict? Which few historians have said that the conflicts that the gangs had back in this time frame weren't as violent as Scorsese showed it, but still were pretty violent. So what are your thoughts on that? I'll start with you, Jeff.
I mean, very authentic, and really, really interesting concept, or probably a real shock, I would think, to most people. I guess it was for me, of how things went back then, how sort of rule bound, right? And how they cared about things like honor, and they actually had almost like politeness, or like a certain regard for certain principles about battle, right? And whatnot. It was just, you get what I'm saying. Maybe somebody else could explain it better, or describe what I'm saying better. But I love the fact that back then they were using hand-to-hand combat weapons, some without arms, fighting in battle, and literally, like fucking savages. And it was really, really gory too. Not like Gladiator level, but pretty intense. I thought they could have gone maybe a little bit more with that. I wouldn't have. I'm not saying blood and guts. I would have liked to have seen more of the realism of like some Braveheart, more of that kind of like real, show the real, that messiness and how almost ghastly it is watching people actually get killed like that brutally. But the sort of honor they have, the reference that the butcher has for Leonardo DiCaprio's character, his father as a leader, right? The honor to him, and whatnot. It's very, 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 very intriguing and very cool to see, as a, from a historical standpoint. If you really care about history, if you dig history, if that's your thing, or that you like it, it's really fucking dope. And looks great.
All right, thank you. Andres, same question, sir. What was your thoughts on that beginning fight sequence? Liam Neeson and Daniel Day-Lewis's introduction.
Yeah, I mean, first though, Daniel Day-Lewis, great actor, love him. I agree, Saber. I'm surprised he didn't win this Oscar, but yeah, there's reason why. But whatever. I mean, first though, I knew Liam Neeson was here, so he's fantastic. And like in the few minutes he's in this film as the priest, and right in the bat, it's definitely culture clash. Because later in the film we discovered that the butcher played by Daniel Lewis. He always claims himself to be the native, that like he's the true American in the New York, and he despised the mix of cultures that's been entering in New York. As we get into it, like the Irish, coming from Ireland is coming into New York. The black people, these different types of cultures are entering in, and he doesn't like that. He thinks that the New York and this America is truly for the natives, that's born in this country, and you kind of see that, and especially with the colors that the Liam Neeson's priest is leading, and then of course the butchers and his gang. Of course, the gang of the butcher is blue, and then the priest is red. So like it's a very culturally like clash of these like gangs in New York, which is very interesting, and that's something you don't hear about. Every time you hear, I mean, it's common in these later gangs. It's either poverty or like or something like monocular reasons. But with this one, it's purely for culture reason with these games because of the Irish are trying to live the American dream, and then you look at the butcher. He wants like almost like a pure American should be the ones that own the land, And so I think the battle is really, really fantastic in a very visual and gripping way. I mean, first off, I disagree with you, Jeff. I think the violence is pretty, top tier. I mean, Marty's just violence, like Goodfellas and Conceal levels. I mean, you have to be that hard to show violence. That you saw one person grabbing someone's mouth and then it like tore apart. I was like, what is that? I was like, oh my god, and of course seeing people getting chopped with the axe and knives. So it's pretty violent too. I mean, you cannot compare that to Braveheart. I mean, there's just the way Scorsese, presents violence. He doesn't shy away, and in this way is no difference from his other films. So I think it's handled in a way that's telling the story, what's going on with these gangs, in a very violent way, which makes sense. So everything's great, and I was sad that Liam Neeson died because I was like, oh my god, I love this guy, and Brendan Gleeson, I was shocked that he was in this movie, and John C. Reilly, great actor. I always forget he's in the Oscar films. Of course, he's in Boogie Nights. He's going to be in The Aviator next time, whenever we review that movie. But yeah, great cast, and the battle was awesome. Great way to start a film.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. All right. Great job there. Yeah, I forgot that Liam Neeson got killed right off the bat from the last time I watched it, and I was like, oh, that's right, he gets killed. I'm like, crap. I'm like, I love Liam Neeson. And so I was like, man, he's only in it partially. Which I find hilarious. Henry Thomas casting in this film, too. I was watching him going kind of like the kid from E.T. I'm like, I just don't see him in this type of film either. He was kind of like one of those casting again, like Cameron Diaz. And it was just kind of like, why? I mean, he didn't do a horrible job. He was still okay in the film, but he still was one of those characters. I was like, why is he in this? Like, I just didn't see, him as a Gangs of New York kind of caliber. But anyways, so like I said, this is based on Herbert Asbury's book, which came out in 1927. And it's supposed to be a nonfiction book about the supposed gangs that were in New York prior to the mafia coming into play in the 1920s during Prohibition. And, these gangs were in the movie really made out to be like these really vicious people. But most historians say that whatever evidence they have showed that, they killed people and they were pretty territorial, but it was more like the mafia than they depicted it in this film. And I thought that was kind of interesting that, Scorsese decided to change that a little bit and give us a little bit more, they're a little more crazier that they were and more writing and all this kind of stuff. And I think that actually made the film better because it gave you more action. It gave you more to think about, made you more look at what's going on here with these people and stuff like that. And another thing about this film is, the fact that it really shows how the American people really disliked a lot of the, Irish people coming over and pretty much any of the different ethnicities that came over during that time frame because they felt it made America not pure because, we were bringing in all these other ethnicities. And, with the butcher's character, him being a very, prominent figure and believing, that they're not pure and all this stuff really showed kind of how in today's society, there's a lot of people that still have that same kind of belief and that, it's too bad. But at the same time, it's like, it just gives you kind of a reality check. Like, yeah, this really happens. And, I think Jim Broadbent was really fantastic in this film. I really enjoyed him playing the corrupt mayor guy that was working with the butcher. And, you know, I think that I totally had forgotten he was in this too. And I was like, when I saw him, I'm like, yeah, it's Jim Broadbent. And I was like, oh, he's so good at this. I forgot. And I really enjoyed what he did with the film and just how, great he was and what he brought to the film, and kind of given a really good idea of this Holloway guy and kind of how he was back during that time frame. And I think also one of another key portion of this film that they really focus on is the drafting of the Civil War. Now, if you recall, they said that you could get out of being drafted for $300. Now, $300 back in 1863 was probably the equivalent of like having $10,000 or $20,000 today. And so it's kind of funny that, you know, it was $300 at the time, and they're like, who has $300 these days? You know, you're like, yeah, I know, because, you know, a quarter at that time could get you a lot of stuff. So I think it's interesting that they brought that in to kind of give you an idea of kind of how the draft was going for the Civil War. And I thought the one scene where it shows the sign that says we're looking for 30,000, you know, people to participate. You're like, holy crap, that's a lot of fucking people. Like that, you know, Civil War is still considered one of the bloodiest, one of the deadliest wars still in existence, even more than World War I, World War II, the Revolutionary War, the French War, the 1812 War. I mean, Civil War is considered still the biggest death toll of any American fight. And, you know, we lost a lot of people during the Civil War. And so all these men that, you know, decided to show up, you know, I can understand that a lot of them would be like, hell no, I'll pay that $300 somehow type of deal. So I thought that was kind of cool that they brought that in to kind of give you a little more interesting history about kind of how the Civil War was going on during that time. And, you know, I think that this film has really great historical accuracies. There's a lot of it, they say, is very historically accurate, and that, you know, they take a few, you know, things and, you know, make it a little different and stuff like that weren't true. But other than that, you know, it still is pretty accurate for what happened during this time frame. Now, to talk about a little bit about Daniel Day-Lewis's character, William Cutting, who is based off the real life person whose name was William Poole. He actually was not around in 1863. He actually died in 1855. And his character actually was born in 1821. And they have Daniel Day-Lewis's character say he's 47 at this point, meaning he was born in 1815. So they took a lot of loose liberties with this character, making him similar to William Poole. But William Poole actually was killed by somebody, a person that he had pissed off, that shot him and stabbed him at the same time and killed him. And so, you know, that the fact that, you know, they had those kind of accuracies with it, I thought was kind of interesting too as well. Now, this film also kind of gives you a little political view too, I think, which was interesting, especially with the Abraham Lincoln stuff, the Civil War going on, stuff like that. And there was actually something that they referenced in this film called the Tammany Hall, which was kind of the big conglomerate at the time that was running the show for the Democratic Party and everything. And was really kind of the hold, which was established. It was established in 1812 or 1829, something like that. And they established it, and they used that as a lot of their sources for allowing these gangs to run around and stuff like that at that time in New York. And I thought that was kind of interesting to find out. But that actually got dissolved in 1967, finally, that Tammany Hall, which I thought that was interesting that it lasted that long in New York. So I think that was quite interesting too as well. Now, this film is one of those films that it's considered like an epic type of film, along the lines of Braveheart, Gladiator, stuff like that, which is just really fun. But if you're not familiar with what, you know, basically what goes on in this film is Leonardo DiCaprio's character, Amsterdam, it wants to get revenge for his father's death and wants to kill William Cutting, which is kind of similar to the real reality, but they take it to a step further where he tries to infiltrate the gang, all this kind of stuff. We have all this going on in it. Now, this movie really depicts the brothels very well of New York at the time. and the 5 gallows that's going on in this film too. The 5 states, the 5 points that this is supposed to be taking place, and was kind of an interesting place too as well. And I think that this whole concept was really established well in this film as well. So my next question for you guys would be, what were your guys' thoughts kind of on the secondary characters in this film? Who do you think was the best secondary character? What do you think they brought to the table for this film? And what do you guys feel about the accuracy of this film? Did you guys know any of this information, or did you look it up at all? And after being told these things, how does that influence your thoughts on the film? Starting with you, Andres.
Sure. I'm not too familiar with this time period, so this was like somewhat new to me. But when we got to the Civil War and the Lincoln thing, I was like, okay, I was very familiar to that part. But I wasn't familiar with the gangs. I wasn't familiar with the 5 points or the Tammy Hall thing you just brought up. So all that was very intriguing. And one of the things I like about Marty, what he does with his films, he does a really good job of like culture you, like teaching you and like culturing you in the world of this real life figures that he's like telling the story. Like in Goodfellas, he gives you what's the life as a mafia person in the eyes of Henry Hill, and same thing with Casino, where the eyes of these mafia people taking over the Las Vegas and how they operate that under away from the authorities and all that, or like the Wolf of Wall Street, like how that character, Leo's character there, like cheats the Wall Street money and all that. So here it was really cool to learn about like all these games and what was the drafts, how they did it back then, and what was going, what was the political opinion about the Civil War. Of course, a lot of people were against or with the slave abolishment. So all that was really great. And then the casting. First off, you brought up the ET actor. I didn't know that actor. I thought, oh, okay, he's just some actor I probably didn't know. But then I was looking at his Wikipedia just like a half hour ago. I was like, man, he's Elliot from ET. I was like, oh my god, that's him. That's so. I was laughing in my mind. I was like, ET is in a Marty film. He's trying to be a a gangster with Dandy Lewis. Just oh my god. I mean, he was good. I mean, his role wasn't that big. It was kind of like a plot device, really, to get to us to one point to another. To take where Leo's character is going to be in the film. He looked like Irish with the red hair, so he fit the part. Then Cameron Diaz, so not too much about him. The MVP of this movie, it's tough. I think it's Brandon Gleeson. It's that or the actor that plays the mayor. Or what's his name? Jim.
MVP or Malcolm Red Bull Award winner.
Yeah, Jim Broadbent. He's a great actor. I love him. He's in the Harry Potter films, and later in the Harry Potter films, and he's in the Paddington films. He's a great, terrific actor, and he played such a great like sleazy politician so well, and I just love that. So he's my MVP. He's my Malcolm Red Bull Award for this film. So I was so happy to see him here. Terrific actor. If you have to see his body of work, he's an awesome actor. And I brought up Brandon Gleeson. He's great too. With the bit part he's in the film, he's great. I was shocked that he died, which his death was like, oh my god, very brutal. He was great too. And there were a couple ones like when the actor, Jeff, I don't know, you recognize him. He's from The Walking Dead, the black actor. He was like the boyfriend for not Michonne, but someone else. I'm forgetting, but he's also in The Wire, the HBO show. So it was great to see him there. And
Now you're tripping me out. I'm trying to think of who the hell you're talking about.
yeah, I'm blanking out.
Do you mean Lawrence Gilliard Jr.?
Yes, I think that's the one I'm thinking of. Yeah, it's him. Yeah, Lawrence Gilliard Jr. Yeah, he's great. I was so happy to see him there. He's a great actor. The bit parts he's in, I thought he was really ethical. Like he felt like the person from that time period. So that was really good. But yeah, so I think that those parts are the best part about the film. And just hearing the information, the history you're talking about, Saber, it's great. It's nothing new with Maury. I mean, because he has films that like do change some aspect of the history. You know, I mean, I know several things like Conceal, like he combines some of the real figures into one character, or he's trying to like move up the date, something like that. So it was I'm not surprised about the changes, but it all works well with the story that Maury is doing in this film, and it's really well done. Except for Cameron Diaz, that's the one part I don't think it works. So I'm sorry. So I just had to read that up again. It's just like
this is the first time ever that Cyber and you have just fucking completely hated an actress before. It's never happened.
Well, I mean,
no.
No.
The two of you though at the same time. I can't remember it ever happening.
No. It's. I mean, look. Before I see this film, my friends told me about how Cameron Diaz was bad in this film.
But you're a nice guy, Andres. You don't like to really like throw up the hammer like Cyber does. Yeah,
but if I see something bad, I'm gonna say it, and I don't have a problem with that. And this is like this movie could easily be a 10 out of 10, but because we got Cameron Diaz, it's dropped a little bit significant. But we'll talk about that later. So I really enjoyed the word for this film is a very good revision history. It's very similar to like Conceal. It's reminding me of X-Men First Class, where they kind of altered the history and that's not like true. So I really dug those kind of films, the revision history, and I think this movie is really good at that. The kind of story it does. But yeah, I think this is so good. So I'm excited to talk more about this film.
I'm sorry, you said X-Men First Class is a revision of what real history?
How the fuck did X-Men First Class get into this fucking equation?
Well, remember,
are you goddamn kidding me?
None of it, none of that. That's all fictitious. There's nothing.
That is so out there.
I think you're getting a little too much into 2077 here, Andres.
Oh my god!
You're referring to Magneto during World War II. That was actually pretty accurate. So
no, not that one.
You're lucky, sir, that I'm so hyper focused that if I even look over at the computer, I can't hear anybody or everyone not, or I would be seriously fucking busting your balls right now.
Well, first off, Jocelyn is busting your balls because
that's fine. I deserve it.
Yeah,
she called me out.
Texting your phone.
She called me out, and I'll get her back too when I after the show. Sure. I'll message her.
Let me answer Cyber. I'm talking about the Cuban Missile Crisis of them trying to say that the mutants are the reason.
Now we're going to inject the Cuban Missile Crisis into gangs in New York.
No.
Jesus Christ.
Hey, I mean, I told you guys. So let's move on. I was born in 1962. I was involved with the Cuban Missile Crisis. So
they didn't have missiles back in the gangs in New York days. They fight with clubs and goddamn knives and shit, man.
Sir, I'm talking about 1962. I'm not talking about gangs in New York. Oh my god.
Okay. All right.
Let's move on. But overall, I really enjoyed those aspects as Jeff was explaining, which is good.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I really enjoyed whatever.
First Class, sir. How dare you? That's a great X-Men film. And don't tell me you didn't see that either, because then I'm gonna flip the screen and like.
It's good. It's a good film.
He's like, no, Jeff's like, okay, you think.
Nah, X-Men. This on a positive. Okay, USA.
Okay, you think.
X-Men First Class is actually an alright movie. It's pretty solid.
All right. So, For you, Jeff, the same question would be, what are your thoughts on the secondary characters? How did you feel about the information I was just talking about the history that was evolved around the real history of the gangs in New York? And what did you think about kind of that idea of just like them taking these certain things and turning them into this film?
Well, actually, what in my notes for during the, while I was watching the movie and whatnot, for the panel, which I don't jot much down, just little bullet points and whatnot here and there. I did write down that I thought that the casting of the secondary characters was excellent. I did. That it really added to the overall quality of the period piece aspect of the film and the film itself. Right, it lended to the well to the film and to both. I wanted to say really quick, the writing is fucking awesome. Just real quick, offside, writing's fucking great for me in this movie. But secondary characters, all very solid. They all seem very authentic in their playing their roles. They seem like they work, they flow into the story as things weave and move forward and whatnot from our opening. And they pretty much everything gels, like you don't really, I feel like Cameron Diaz, her character and her role where she fits is sort of more isolated as more of a principal character, where she doesn't really, to me, overall, I didn't feel like she impacted the overall fluidity of the film based off the leads, if that makes sense. At least I didn't. That's just my take. Obviously, possibly, I guess you could say that maybe the secondary, characters and the casting of them sort of make me wonder why the hell they cast Cameron Diaz, right? Like, why make such a fucking effort to make, to get these really good actors like Brandon Gleeson, right, into the film, whatnot, have people in there that have, they're from other countries and whatnot that are going to be able to automatically pull off accents, right, and fit in, like you said, Cyber, have that look to them, right, that you expect from sort of the fit of the time period, and then go off that, right? It just seems irregular almost. It's strange to me. That the contradiction, like, why would you let star power or something like that, right, be something that you need in this film? So I don't know, it's the characters, secondary characters are well played and they're great, but the casting, I just wonder, did Scorsese handle all the casting?
Doubt it.
Okay, then I'm just wondering, because I couldn't remember whether he actually likes to cast all his films or if somebody actually does it for him. I actually thought he did.
No. For films, they're usually called casting directors.
No. I know that. I'm saying I thought he was one of those directors that did the whole deal. I always thought he did.
They do. Like, they do it together with the casting director sometimes. It depends if they're available to go with the casting directors to see the additions of the actors sometimes. But mostly it's always the casting director, and it, either they read the script with them or not,
Well, I know that that's what we're asking, and I'm pulling it up right now to see who did the casting. But no, my point is just that essentially, I was just wondering, since Scorsese, makes these big, long, really serious films, right? I just, to me, I always just kind of assumed that he was the type of director that has that, likes that overall control, where maybe he does all his casting, even maybe with some assistance, right? That's all I was trying to say. Overall, to answer your question, sir, Cyber, I think that the secondary characters were all well cast.
Okay, and what else did I ask you?
I apologize, sir. Will you refresh me? I would appreciate it.
Jesus Christ. Anyways, I asked you about the secondary characters, and I asked you, what did you think about all the history knowledge I gave you? How do you feel that affected the film,
Oh,
and so forth?
you know what? Honestly, Cyber, I apologize because I actually I didn't write it down, but I made a mental note or tried to. That I read a lot of the stuff myself. After I watched the film, I found it interesting. I did read it. I don't know if you said that you read it pre-movie or after yourself, but I read it afterwards just because I thought it was cool. I thought that it's very, again, that's sort of why I was trying to explain about the original, that battle. I thought that that it was very eye-opening for me, sort of eye-popping. Just the sort of how the culture of that point, and how the different, they had different ethical rules, and everything, things weren't run the same way. People didn't go about things the same way. In terms of, I never read the book, obviously, but in terms of historical accuracy, I'm not an expert, but I felt that based off what you talked about, and then in general, just the overall time period, authentication, how it looked, if it looked authentic to its time. I thought it appeared it did. I thought that the movie gave off a vibe that was authentic to that time, what it would have been. I thought that the premise, as I understand from, I'm looking at right now from the book that you explained, was well presented. I thought personally in the movie, and I personally just find it interesting. I do in general. It's cool.
Excellent, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, so a little more information about the film. So this movie was made for 97 to 100 million back in 2001. And it ended up making 193.8 million in box office in 2002. So basically, it was considered it was considered a hit, but at the same time, not a huge hit. But still, it made enough money to really pay back what it cost to make the movie. So they still made like around 80 million over on this film. So it still produced them some money. It wasn't a complete disaster, but at the same time, for a movie of this caliber at that time, it still is kind of considered a little bit of a bomb, a little bit in the financial department, a little bit. But overall, it's not considered a financial bomb. Now, for those that are probably wondering what the rating for this film is from the critics and all that kind of good stuff, just to kind of give you guys an idea, this film was actually 72% from Rotten Tomatoes, which is pretty good. I mean, for a movie that is very a graphic film, lots of sex, lots of blood and guts, type of deal, and stuff like that. It's nice to see it has a really high rating for being kind of a film that wasn't a huge hit in theaters, but at the same time it was. It was kind of one of those odd pictures. And I think probably because of that is the reason probably why it didn't win any of its Academy Awards, is because of that it wasn't considered a huge blockbuster. But at the same time, still having a 72%, I think is pretty good for this film. I definitely would give it a little higher, but I think 72% is pretty good. Now, through the Metacritic, it's a 72 out of 100 as well. So that's pretty interesting that both of them are right on the cusp, right at the same amount on either or. So you didn't really see a difference between those critics. And then even on IMDb itself, it's a 7 out of 10. Which I think is pretty comparable to 72 as well. So it's pretty fun. This movie seems to be pretty even across with the critics altogether. Now, to answer your question about the casting, Jeff, the casting was done by a woman named Ellen Lewis.
Okay.
Majority of the time, movies will have a casting director or a casting person that will take advice from the director if they're one of those types of directors that, really tries to focus on getting a particular actor or actress for their film. Now, a lot of, the directors that are huge, like Spielberg, Gunn, people like that, they're going to have a lot of say into what the casting director, who they hire. But for the most part, most movies, the casting director will cast, but always will get the opinion of the director if they feel they're fit for the role. So everyone's always involved in the casting. So I'm sure Scorsese has quite a bit of call on that. But you'll always see pretty much a casting person, in any movie, even if they're a director that does a lot of the casting themselves. All right. So
well, thank you, sir.
You're welcome. So to kind of get you guys back in the spirit, we got the trailer ready for you. So we'll pop that on for you guys so you can see what movie we're talking about.
No problem. Echo cancellation off.
Winner 2002 Golden Globe Awards. And nominated for 10 Academy Awards, including Best Picture.
Who holds sway over the 5 points? Us natives or the foreign hordes?
With this knife that struck him down, let me put to rest my father's ghost.
Who are you?
You're the priest's son, aren't you? His name's Amsterdam.
Amsterdam. I'm New York.
Everything you see belongs to me. The newsboys and quick thieves and blind tigers here in paradise. Everybody owes, everybody pays.
What do you think you're doing?
I'm dancing.
So why aren't you dancing with him?
I'm not in love with him.
There's more of us coming off these ships every day. 15,000 Irish a week. Get all of us together and we ain't got a gang. We got an army.
Challenge.
Challenge accepted.
I took the father. Now I'll take the son. I give you my word. This'll all be finished tomorrow.
No, it won't.
We got
Excellent. Thank you, sir. So there you go, folks. There's a little revision of what Gangs of New York is about. Pretty straightforward. This movie is basically, kind of giving you an idea of what these gangs were like, what it was like for people during the late 1800s, and, kind of giving you an idea of kind of the underworld of lower Manhattan at the time, kind of prior to when the mafia took over. And to me, the gangs pretty much were exactly similar to what the mafia was in the 1920s. They were basically in charge. They killed whoever resisted them and so forth. So, I mean, it really hasn't changed. Just we had gangs, as they were called, versus actually having the mafia bosses, the mafia families, and all that kind of stuff. And, I think a really great trailer. I really enjoyed that trailer. I think that was an interesting one showing, this was around the awards series time in 2003. So that was kind of interesting, saying it was nominated for this and nominated for that and stuff like that. So that was a fun little trailer there for you guys. What did you guys think of the trailer? Andres, what did you think of that trailer?
Very good. Everyone doesn't know, like, every studio will push their Oscar-winning films in after the awards and nominations happen.
No way.
Way. And Oscars. So, and of course, this was typical awards trailer. Thank goodness they didn't spoil anything, so that's good. But it made me pumped to see the film again because it was really epic. The production design was awesome. The score by Howard Shore awesome. I mean, I love Howard Shore. He's a great composer. He did the Lord of the Rings trilogy. He has done a couple of Cronenberg films. I mean, especially The Fly, the 1986 film, which is awesome. So, yeah, and I think the 10 nominations was deservedly. It's kind of sad he didn't win any of them. I mean, unfortunately, if you take a look at 2002, you know that's the year Chicago happened. The penis came out.
The penis came out that year.
I don't know.
Pianist.
Pianist,
Oh,
sir.
the penises did not
Oh my
exist
god.
before that. Wow.
No,
Penis.
no.
Holy shit.
How did
Oh
human
my
race produce?
Oh my
Now,
god.
now was the penis? Was it? What's his name's penis?
Oh, that's right. What color was the penis?
No.
Was it once black then white?
No, I'm not gonna answer any
They
of
got
that.
like bigger and
There's no.
smaller.
Was it
There's no.
Jewish?
Oh,
Was it,
no,
was
oh,
it
no.
African American?
No, it's robots. That's it. It's robots.
What is Jewish? It's not really
Robot
big.
dicks.
Jewish. It's
yeah.
not really big. It's small. It's got like an afro. The Jewish dick.
Anyway, let me go down the movies that was there. Like the two towers were nominated. I mean,
Oof.
a bunch of good movies from 2002. So I can see why it didn't get all those awards, which is sad, you know. But yeah, so I can see why it didn't get the nominations. But great trailer, love it. I wish we could see the film again because it's a really good film.
Thank you. Same question, sir, for you, Jeff. What did you think of that trailer?
Well, the trailer is, I mean, it's short, but it does a really good job, I think, of it's effective, right? It's eye-catching to me, and it's pretty solid for this type of film. It's obviously not a superhero film. It's not a Marvel trailer, right? It doesn't have the special effects or the flash to it, right? And let's be honest here, this time period, because it is, I believe, pretty accurate how they depict it, is pretty gray and kind of bland in a way. Maybe I'm wrong, but it's not really super colorful, right? It's sort of not dark, but not not smoggy, kind of just bland a little bit almost in color. So it doesn't pop. But the characters deliver their lines very well. They do a great job of pulling shots that have some of the key characters. Dale Day-Lewis, for instance, he's just excellent delivering his lines with his accent. So I felt like they did a great job of Leonardo, regardless of what Andres thinks. I thought was excellent. His accent was fine. I didn't have any problems with it. It just wasn't as fun looking, as cool as like the Butchers, right? It didn't have that factor of like almost, I don't know, whatever that element that Dave Day-Lewis always brings to his fucking roles, right? That factor that he has, There Will Be Blood. I mean, same kind of shit, right? He just has this fucking thing where he becomes characters. My dad was watching My Left Foot the other night, and I stopped to watch it for a minute. I hadn't seen it in probably freaking 25 years. Either way, solid trailer. Again, when you sort of become, this is from 2002, you sort of, when you get used to watching all these damn superhero trailers and Marvel trailers and shit, it seems like all the studios are making these really awesome, trailers that never really depict the accurate quality of the films these days. Almost, they're so eye popping that it's hard to watch these older trailers and really, you get what I'm saying. It's be wowed by them, sort of. But for that time period, very solid. I don't remember seeing it back then at all. But as far as the Two Towers, honestly, it's so damn good that when I went over and reviewed it on our good man Matthews, our boy, over at Board to Watch, when I went on his show as a guest. Thanks, Matthew. I rated the movie 1 out of 5 as a 4.5. And after the show, I felt bad. I did. Because it's the goddamn 10 out of 10 every day. And I was like, just trying to do one of those. I want to save my 5 for like, that's how I come on kind of deal. You never know. And I felt bad that I betrayed the Two Towers.
You did.
I did.
You
Let's be
betrayed
It's
it.
the best damn movie in the trilogy.
True. I agree. I will watch the Two Towers over the Return of the Jedi.
That should have been my 5. Seriously, why am I saving the bitch?
Yeah, I don't know why you saved those.
That was
either.
fucking stupid.
There's nothing wrong with giving 10s all across the board all the time.
I know.
Nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with it. All right, thank you, sir. Thank you. So to give you guys just a little bit more information, before we get kind of in the middle of the film, the draft rights that the film depicts that happened between July 13th and July 16th of 1863. Like I said, William Cutting, or aka William Poole, was not there at the time. He had been dead for almost 10 years at that point. So Daniel Day-Lewis's character being there during this time was kind of hilarious because that character really wasn't there. But it, made good for the film, most definitely. But the drafting riots, they actually were pretty brutal. They estimated that around 100 to 120 people actually died during those riots at that time. And how the film depicts it, basically kind of giving us an idea, of it was because of the draft and everything like that, people having to go into the army, these men that didn't want to because they didn't have the $300 to get out of it. And so like that. And so, these riots started happening and lasted for 3 whole days. And a lot of people were injured, like 2,000 people were injured during this. And how it was depicted in the film was a little crazier than supposedly how it happened in real life, but still pretty accurate on how that happened. And I think that the draft rights, are very similar to any kind of right that we have had over the years, which I think it's kind of interesting that, these were, such, transcribed riots that they made sure to keep, in the history books to let us know about, which I thought was kind of interesting. So basically, if you have watched the film, the middle section of the film, pretty much, from the get-go, we get a really interesting little kind of, it's montage pretty much for like the hour and a half of the film, basically of Leonardo DiCaprio's character Amsterdam getting in good with Billy Butcherson and or Bill the Butcher, and basically we see him kind of rise in the ranks in his eyes. We see them kind of become friends. We see him like do whatever it takes to really kind of get Bill to like him so that he can get in good enough so that he can get close and kill him and get his revenge. And basically that leads up to when Bill finally finds out and basically kind of like shames him in front of everybody. So I think that section of the film is really interesting because we get to see all those background characters. We get to see the relationship that blossoms between, Cameron Diaz and Amsterdam himself. And, we kind of get to see kind of all that crazy kind of like political stuff going on, Jim Broadbent and Eddie Marsan and all that kind of stuff going on. And you get kind of a good idea of kind of what it's like for these gangs around that time. So my question for you guys is, what did you think about like that kind of portion of the film? What did you think? How did that play out? Did you think it was authentic? Did you like it? Did you hate it? What did you like about that sequence of the film? And how do you think that it fits in well with the film? Starting with you, Jeff.
I thought it kind of dragged it down a little bit, to tell you the truth. The movie really slows down and kind of decentralizes at that point into sort of a very, very heavily dialogue-driven, sort of, I guess you could say, development, part of the film where they're really, again, as you explained with the story, right? That's kind of what they have to do. That's what the setting. They're, it's a process of, segment of the film where, you have Leonardo DiCaprio's character, working and trying to, earn his way into, right, the Butcher's, team on his side, obviously, to gain revenge against his father's death. honor it, right? And also, for his, his belief system. And at that point, I feel like that's where Cameron Diaz really doesn't help the film at all, right? Because the whole, I'm in love with you, but like we're gonna sleep in bed tonight and everything and whatnot, but we're not gonna have sex and all this shit and whatnot because like Bob the Butcher fucked you or whatever and some shit. You know what I mean? Like it's just stupid to me. Like that just makes no sense to me. That concept, I'm sorry, it doesn't make any sense. Right? But like if you're gonna have that kind of dichotomy going on, which is a really fucked up one to be in. I mean, think about it in real life. If you're with some chick and literally in love with her and she's in love with you and you're sleeping with her and shit, like you're with her and you're not having sex because she banged some dude 10 years ago, like I get, I'm being, facetious, but it doesn't make any sense. I get it. It's a period piece and, things were different back in the day, but like, that's ridiculous. And if you're going to have it like that kind of crap going on, then at least have an actress that can like do something with it to where, it's more effective, I guess. And, the emotion and like whatnot and part aspect of as Cameron Diaz's character, it just didn't match Leonardo's, right? That's all I'm saying. And that I felt like that didn't help. That they made that a part of that segment. And also the only aspects of it that I like about it are the secondary characters. And all they do basically is just kind of talk. That's it for the most part. And the only ones that are really good at just talking are, basically, the Butcher. And then, Gleason. And I apologize for not knowing his name off the top of my head. My memory's not good right now. But the gentleman that's been so many damn good films like Boogie Nights and, Step Brothers, whatever, whatnot, that played, John
C. Reilly.
Yeah, that played the cop.
Yep, John C. Reilly.
John C. Reilly. He has that same kind of as an actor. He what he lends to his characters brings a certain presence, and his dialogue is always solid, right? It's always not profound necessarily, but always very very heavily contributing to positive as a contributor to the film. So I just felt like at that point it got to be kind of a slog for me because it's already a long movie, right? And the damn movie starts off with so much action, that it just doesn't help the movie to then have that lull like that, right? That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying the story doesn't work or it's not a bad story or concept. I get it. It works for me. I'm just saying that, the execution on it was boring to me.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. Andres, same question, sir. Your thoughts on that middle section of the film?
Yeah.
What do you think?
I feel good now, man. Thank you for that. I appreciate that, brother. Good compliment. Shut up, Andres. Yeah. Fuck you.
Okay, you think?
Okay, you want to say and fuck you, Andres.
F you, sir. Fuck.
Oh, now you changed the game up. Now you're F you.
Once again, talking about fucking each other. Jesus Christ.
I know.
Oh my God. We're not even.
He said she rejected me already.
Oh my God, Jeff. Forget it. Forget it.
And I'm true knowledge, baby. Jesus Christ.
You're not true knowledge.
Everybody. I fuck everything.
Yeah, sure thing. You should be sex knowledge. That's who you are. Anyway,
I never said I was knowledgeable at sex. I just have a lot of it. Those things don't have to equate.
No. So his nickname would be Sex-a-Lot.
Oh my God. Yeah. Oh my God. Anyway,
I mean, honestly, I met some guy at the bar the other night, whatnot, that was showing me these photos of these chicks. He says he just banged, whatnot, everything that were like Instagram models. But I talked to the guy and everything, whatnot. And I'm sorry, but like, I don't believe that shit at all. So it made no sense.
See, that's where you're showing your true knowledge. Very proud of you there. Anyway, yeah, the middle section, it's pretty good. I mean, I think this is where it's really good. I mean, I think the Billy was it the butcher played by Daniel Day-Lewis is great. Like I wish the whole movie was about him. I feel like he was such an engaging protagonist, or well, antagonist. Let me say that. You know, I mean, just he grasps my attention so well. Like him talking about how to cut the pig, and then that like oh my god, was like him teasing the Cameron Diaz character with the knives was like crazy. He almost cut her to the neck, which was brutal. I feel like this movie should focus on him, and then Leo. I really like Leo's arc here. The revenge plot is really cool. It's like I wish the revenge plot was very more straightforward and like kind of consistent, and like I wish he had someone he could talk to like say like he's trying to kill the butcher, because a lot of time like in moments of the sequence it's like, is he like going after him or not? Like he's going along and he's like he's enjoying it, and like he's almost like getting to like feel like the butcher is like his father, a little bit. So it's just like, okay, like pick your lane. It's like, is this a revenge plot or whatnot, And then the Cameron Diaz thing is just like, I just don't care. The love story. I mean, it's kind of like, come on, it's not Titanic. I mean, I don't need to see Leo getting with like another lady again. Like the beach. Titanic. The other movie, Cyber, you didn't bring up was, what was it? The Man in the Iron Mask. I think that was the other movie that came out in 98. Romeo and Juliet, that came out in 96 as well, with Basketball Diaries. I mean, like, out of all Leo's romance of characters, this is like the weakest part, and I just don't care. And yeah, it was weird to hear the story of her, like the butcher, like taking in with her, as I guess a protege. So, but I wish we got more detail with the relationship between the butcher and Cameron Diaz character, because maybe it could have been better. But I mean, sometimes whatever. So yeah, so the second part, it's okay, it's good. I think there could have been more improvements, but at least the pacing's great. Like, I mean, Mari has great editor to edit his films, and like they do a good job to keep the pace going. So at least I'm like not bored when I'm watching the film. So like that's the one great thing about this film. So that's all I have to say about the act.
Excellent, thank you. And just to kind of go off that narrative there for you, about Leo's straightforward story about getting revenge. If you notice in his narration, he mentions that he's having faults in his revenge plot because he is starting to like Bill the Butcher, that he's starting to, see him as like a father figure, and he doesn't know why, because he knows what happened. He saw him kill his father, and so I think it all comes down to the fact that, he is at a state in his life that he's getting confused because of all these pleasures he's getting from being a part of Bill's world. And so he keeps mentioning that throughout. So I feel the narration is actually really good. You just really have to pay attention and take a moment to really listen, because I know those could be hard to recall, because he does say them really quickly sometimes, and they're very intermissed throughout it. But at the same time, you do kind of get an idea in that section of the film, like where he's coming from, like his same thoughts, like you just said, like, he's falling for Bill and stuff like that. So I think the narration, like Jeff had said, that the writing of this was really done well. So I do have to agree with that. The story was really well conceived from that book that they took this from.
Yeah, can I say one other thing?
No, never.
You can always say 7 different things, Andres. Come on, bro.
No, not 7 things. No. This one thing. I want to bring up this one nitpick. It's the alien, the ET actor. Oh my God, when he betrayed him,
Henry Thomas.
Yeah, Henry Thomas, right?
He wants to bring up one nitpick, but he hates the fucking. You know, I don't even get it, man.
Shush. Listen. Look, I think the movie could have been great if he didn't rat out Leo's character. This man is the worst friend ever in a film.
That's the point.
Yes, but he knew he was going to be in trouble with the butcher, because he thinks that, if I portray him, I can be joining his native. But the fact that he knows that he's not, a Henry Thomas character is not a native. He's part of the immigrant, side, right? And it's like he was just so stupid and so jealous of him because he, Cameron Diaz character liked Leo more than him. It was just, and then his death was so laughable. And it's like I was like, oh my God, come on, dude, be a man, take it. I just never liked this character. I agree, you, Jeff. Like, that's the point of his character. But at the same time, it was kind of frustrating. It's like he knew he was going to be in trouble because the butcher is very like Joker like very unpredictable with the way he like acts as a person, because he's very violent and very like just manic crazy. So that's my thing. And yes, I agree with you, Jeff. I forgot about the narration. I forgot the narration because like his accent throw me off sometimes when he narrates the dialogue he does. So next time when I listen more carefully with the narration, I think it's better. But yeah, that's all I have to say. I'm sorry.
I didn't say anything about narration.
I'm talking to Cyber, not to you, Jeff.
The fuck?
I know you said Jeff though.
The fuck are you talking about, man?
Cyber.
I've been using the word narration since the year 2053.
Well, I'm talking to Cyber. Wait, so you're telling me, Cyber, I'm talking to Jeff, but
yeah, I was completely
no. I'm not saying you're talking to Jeff, Andreas. I said when you were talking about that point, you said Jeff, not Cyber.
Oh, yeah.
I'm already easily confused right now at the moment. Not feeling all that well, so we got a little bit, seasonal bug. I was really thrown.
I'm sorry. I just it's just this movie. This movie is just all over the place.
Like the movie there was narration going on throughout the whole movie. I didn't even fucking know.
I don't know either too. So I didn't know the E.T. actor was in this film. I was like, oh my God, E.T. aliens here. I thought we're gonna see E.T. again in this movie, like see the starship coming down, and like, oh my God, he's renewing the small alien after what, how many years, 40 or 50 years. So
the alien was there. You just didn't get to see him because he got trampled on before Ellie could show him.
Oh yes, that's true.
I would fight E.T.
Yes, just along with your kangaroo and your King Cobra.
I would fight E.T.
Oh my God.
Crazy motherfucker. All right.
Beat his ass too.
So I found out some interesting little tidbits that I don't think a lot of people know this or haven't heard it, but I thought I'd share it with you guys here. But a lot of people realize that Daniel Day-Lewis is a very method actor. And whenever he makes a movie, he's always very into the character the whole time he's on the set, and even when he's not filming and so forth and so that. So I thought it was kind of interesting. There was a couple little things they talked about with his acting on this film, is the fact that there was one time that DiCaprio asked him to go out to dinner with him one night, and he was able to get him to, but he was always in character the whole time they were out. And so at the place they went to, the people were kind of scared of him because how he was acting and how he was very like dominant and like he played his character in the movie, which I thought was kind of funny. Also, because he's such a hardcore actor, during the filming of this film, he actually wouldn't wear a leather jacket or any type of jacket because he wanted to be very authentic to the characters back that time. And so he actually caught pneumonia and almost died while filming this film.
Jesus. Yeah.
And so, a lot of people don't know that. So it's an interesting little tidbit I thought I'd share with you guys. But yeah, he would actually, he also, because of his method acting, he even wasn't getting help for the pneumonia until the very end.
That's crazy, Simon. We talked about pneumonia recently. That's no joke.
Yeah, so I mean, the fact that he survived it is really impressive, I feel, and and really shows his great method acting. And he definitely is the best part of this film. I feel he really played that character to the T, and I think that he did a really great job. But here's another tidbit for you guys: he originally wasn't the original casting for this character. They originally wanted Tom Hanks to play this character. Could you imagine Tom Hanks playing that character?
No, not the accent is so he doesn't do accents. Why the fuck would he want? I mean, why the fuck would you cast him?
Because he's considered such a great actor. He has
He's a
2
great
Oscars,
actor.
And so I don't know, like that's what they originally were thinking of casting for this character was Tom Hanks. And thankfully, people convinced Daniel Day-Lewis to actually play the part, to say he will do it. Hence, why we got such a fantastic performance and such a great role in this film is because of those people. So thank you to those who got Daniel Day-Lewis to do this, because this movie would not be anywhere as good if Tom Hanks played that role. So I think that was kind of interesting factoid for you guys there.
Because they needed to have that name, that brand, right, Cyber, for that lead role.
Goes back to the Cameron Diaz thing.
Yeah,
it's they were popular at the time. Daniel Day-Lewis at this point hadn't really been a big name since the 90s when he did Last of the Mohicans and My Left Foot. He really wasn't. He hadn't really done much between those years. This was actually the first film he did in like 15 years.
The Last Mohicans is a fucking awesome movie.
Or 10 years or so. So, yeah. So, I mean, the fact that they got him to come out to film this was really a feat at itself. So, I think that really shows a testament of how fantastic this movie is the fact that we got that performance from Daniel Day-Lewis. So, I just thought that would be an interesting thing to share with everyone.
Cyber, he's retained that same method, right? He still doesn't make a lot of films.
No, well, he after he did The Phantom Thread, he decided, he said he was done acting. And he hasn't done anything since. And that was 2018, I believe. There are directors like Scorsese that have mentioned that they're going to try to get him to come out of retirement to film something else for them, before he gets too old. I mean, he's only 66, so I mean, he's not that old, but I mean, with the few movies he's done over the last 20 years, he's well set for life, for money wise. I mean, between doing Gangs in New York in 2002 to doing There Will Be Blood to Phantom Thread, pretty much all those movies were huge hits and made him a lot of money. So, I mean, it's not like he's struggling for anything, but I think it comes down to the project. And for a lot of these actors, I mean, look at Joe Pesci. Joe Pesci went on a 20-year retirement before they got him to come back for The Irishman, and then to do that show with Pete Davidson. So, I mean, just the right project after so many years, they might come back. So we might have not seen the last of Mr. Daniel Day-Lewis. And I mean, the fact that his last few roles that he's given to us have been super amazing. Lincoln, Gangs in New York, Phantom Thread, all those performances were utterly amazing. And every single film that he does method acting for. And each film, you can look it up. It'll tell you exactly what he learned in order to do for the film to be as method as he could. Like for the Phantom Thread, he took a 3-month course of sewing to learn about it, so that he would know how to do some sort of threading for the film. Same thing for playing Lincoln. The whole time he was on the set of Lincoln, he told everyone to call him Mr. President while he was there. And even when they weren't filming, he asked them to call him Mr. President so that he would always stay in the mind of Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah.
So he's always been a method actor. And I think anything he ever has done or will do in the future, if he does do anything, he will always stay that type of course, and he'll be one of those types of people. That's just how he is. That's what makes him so great. Yes.
Don't forget about Sean Connery's his dutification and whatnot, and professionality, and whatnot, everything, and perseverance. Having a contract written into where he has to have actual sex with all of his female actresses in the films. That's dedication, baby. That's real,
Yep, you know it. All right. Excellent, guys. Excellent. All right, so basically getting to the end of this film, which we have a very epic conclusion. Not as epic as Sean Connery having a sex clause, but we definitely have a great ending here. Just like the movie starts off with a climactic riot scene or a fighting, the movie ends that way. And basically, the end of the movie is supposed to be those same riots that I was talking about earlier. The draft rights of 1863, and basically the two sides, the Dead Rabbits and the Naviest, go to war again and battle each other. Leonardo DiCaprio's Amsterdam is controlling that group, kind of like how his father was in 1846. And then, of course, Daniel Day-Lewis as the Butcher is still controlling the Naviest. And they basically go to war, and we start having this giant climactic battle at the end, which was really done well. Lots of great action, lots of great beatings. Unfortunately, throughout this film, there's a lot of deaths of some really great actors that are in this film that, unfortunately, their characters had a demise, like John C. Reilly's character being hung up and be shown after he's been killed by, Amsterdam. And then, of course, Brendan Gleeson being killed by the Butcher when he's trying to run for office, which I thought were both very great, sequences. And but definitely this ending is really fantastic and really well done. And I think a really great way to end the film with this really great battle showing, Amsterdam finally getting his revenge and killing the Butcher. And a couple other little tidbits about Daniel Day-Lewis's character, the Butcher. That fake glass eye that you see in the movie, he actually had a real piece of fake plastic put in to his eye so that it would look like a glass eye. And then also he learned how to push and to poke that fake piece of plastic with a knife, not blinking, to give it reality, which I thought was kind of interesting too. So,
what does that mean, cyber reality? Like to make it look real?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Hence, what's the word reality mean, sir?
No, I'm just thinking with a lens, like with the piece of glass, though. Like, okay, all right.
Because you're pretending to have a fake glass eye.
I'm trying to imagine what you have to do to, why it would be necessary to use a knife to make that occur. I don't know. That's all. It threw me off there a little bit for a minute.
To show you're sadistic.
Ah, okay. I got you. To
show that you're badass, that you don't take shit from anyone.
I understand it.
Anyways, so what are you guys' thoughts on this climactic conclusion to Gangs of New York? And what did you think about John C. Reilly's and Brendan Gleeson's deaths in the film as well? What were your overall thoughts on that and your overall thoughts on that conclusion to this epic film? I'll start with you, Jeff.
I'm so messed up. No, I actually crossed up. I slipped up and literally lost it for a minute and thought you were trying to say that he literally was doing that offset just to adjust the lens and shit on his own. I'm sorry. That's what threw me off. But the ending of the film picks up again, right? I don't want to say that obviously the pace does pick up, right? But it also adds in the sort of, if you want, the action, the classic time period action that's so well done. And then, as you said, that also I just want to mention, I thought that was well shot, as well as the intro battle. That was really well shot. I really liked how they did different different things and whatnot to really center on, or give us different looks during all the fight, the action scenes or the battle scenes. They were well done, and I thought they were well shot. But I thought that I enjoyed the evolution of Leonardo's character after, taking the, that blade for the Butcher, right? And his sort of rising up as the leader of, essentially, the outlawed or or I guess you could say exiled, defeated gang of his father's. I forgot the name. I forgot the the rabbit, whatever. That was interesting to me. I liked how that came together. I liked how the political aspect of it, right? The war aspect kind of was flushed out or continues to evolve and then flush out throughout that third segment of the film. I thought that it was a lot more interesting and kept my attention more in sort of the third of the film than it did in that middle, if that makes sense. It did more for me. I enjoyed it more. And it didn't have as much of a slog to it. I didn't feel like I was pushing through to try to watch, regardless of the action. But great finale. I don't think the final parts or scenes of the film are as good as the intro in terms of level or depth, impact, perhaps. But as the final session of the film is sort of like just as that isolated, I thought it worked. It definitely looked cool. That final battle, introducing the riot aspect and whatnot, all that and everything, with the cannon shot and all that shit and whatnot, that was really cool. The actual, that was interesting to me. I loved how things sort of like devolved, right, into chaos almost. It looked cool. And again, it's not some kind of 10 out of 10. I don't think. I'd say sort of ending of a movie, but for this movie, it worked. It was serviceable. It wasn't anything outstanding. That's all. I apologize. That was Sean Connery. He just wanted to know if I wanted to go out later and be his wingman.
Oh, that's wonderful. Great to know.
Yeah,
Great
Sean
to know.
Connery's Ghost. But no, I really liked DiCaprio overall in the film, and I thought he was strong at the end against the Butcher. It was great seeing him them when they actually become sort of like equals almost, and he gets his revenge. He played that well. They conveyed it well. It worked for me, right? I liked it. I liked the contrast of the killing of his father versus. I thought it was good and well delivered. Hey, at the end of the day, right? How can you go wrong with Daniel Day-Lewis? Working with him has got to be fucking like a dream. You can't go wrong. And then you have DiCaprio off that young. Shit, I can't even imagine how much he must have learned from him. Seriously, I'd have to imagine Leo ask questions. He didn't seem like a selfish prick kind of guy that when he's got a great actor, you don't ask him a question here or two. And I would assume Daniel Day-Lewis, I don't know if you would agree, Cyber or Andres, that Daniel Day-Lewis seems like he'd be the type, if he's cares so much about his craft, if he respects an actor or actress, I'm sure he probably isn't afraid to give advice.
Most of them like to give advice. That's just how they work.
It's probably something important and valuable to have, right?
It can be, yeah, because sometimes it helps, sometimes it doesn't. It all depends on the actor if it works for them. You know what I mean? So, most of the time, usually I feel that majority of the time, usually the ones that getting the advice are actors and actresses that have great potential that the actor sees and gives them that advice. So, it all depends, on if they have that potential or not. I feel.
I guess it's sort of like how with Rest in Peace with Chadwick, and how all the different characters for the Black Panther films, the director will talk about how on set he would just sort of like just kill it so much as an actor. It was so driven and so effective that it raised the level of quality and made the other actresses and actresses feel more driven to be better. It makes me think about Daniel Day-Lewis in this film, an actor of such quality, right? In a movie like this, if you have a chance to work with him, it's probably it's really probably helpful to your career to have a chance to to evolve through that that experience. That's all, and I'm done.
Excellent, thank you, sir. Andreas, same question. What did you think about the end sequence, sir?
It's fantastic. I mean, very brutal. I mean, it's very epic, and I think first up, the cinematography is fantastic in the film, and with this epic battle and riot is incredible. Very brutal and very crazy. I don't know. You guys laugh at this. I mean, you're supposed to laugh at this riot, but I was laughing really hard when Cameron Diaz got got like mugged by these two random people during this riot, and like come on, we need to get her stuff. Bam, bam. I was like, whoa, okay. I thought she was gonna almost die, and then oh no, and then she pulled out her small pistol and then shot that lady. I was like, oh man. I never. You thought I thought we were gonna go ahead at a good ending. Instead, she somehow survived during this huge battle / riot in New York, and I was like, wow, okay. But yeah, I when Daniel Day-Lewis and Leo start to fight, it's really great. The fight between those two was really great. I love that little like moment of interruption by the cannons, which was really great, and then like everything just became chaos, and these two had to face off. It was so incredible, and his death, the butcher's death, was really great, and I like the last shot of his eye closing with the fake eye, as Cyber was talking about, was really good to end like that, and holding Amsterdam, because he talked about this early in the film that he didn't have a son, and he does see Amsterdam like a son he never had, and he respected his dad too. He respected him as an enemy, and so I liked his character, and I think him holding Amsterdam's hand so hard, it's like came full circle. This is his death, which is nice. Other things, I was very sad that some of the characters die. Gleason's death was shocking. Like, you think that the butcher was gonna maybe follow, but nope, he hit him with an axe and then kills him with this I don't know, the stick that Gleason was holding. I don't know what you call it.
A cane club, yeah.
Okay, cane club, yeah. Like, and hit him. That was the final blow. I was like, oh wow. John C. Reilly's death was kind of coming. I mean, he was a corrupt cop, so his death wasn't surprising, really. His death was like a message to the butcher and his gang. So so I totally get his death, but Gleason's death was very surprising. I was very sad that he was gone, because he was fantastic. But yeah, I did crack up. Another crack up was the characters running towards the UN soldiers, knowing that they have guns and they have swords. With I don't know what you call it. At that time period, guns.
Bretas.
Okay, Bretas. And it's like, are you stupid? Don't go straight to them. You're gonna die. Like, the one guy from Butcher's gang, like, he was running towards the soldiers, and it was like, with the knives, and then bam, 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 like, got shot multiple times, and it was like, wow, you were so stupid at that moment. And then Jesse, whoever was from Amsterdam gang, like, he saw the soldiers there attacking someone, I don't know what, and then he was like, and then Leo was saying, no, don't go there. And then he jumps on the soldier, and then they start poking him, and he gets killed easily. I was like, what's wrong with you? You should have just run, not go head towards the soldier. Oh my god, that was so ridiculous. I was very sad that the what was it the black character we had here. I was very sad that he died, and I was very happy that we got the last shot, of him, and with the candle, and I did appreciate Amsterdam like folding his hands, covered like that, and I thought that was really neat. But yeah, and then the last shot of seeing the evolution of New York to the present day was really cool. Like I always like that shot. I always see that part in TV, and I always thought that was a really good way to end it. I'm trying to I see it. Was the two towers there? I just
Yes.
Yeah,
It evolves into the two towers. That's the reason why they decided
push it.
not
Yeah,
to push it.
Yeah, I'm saying this because it's it's so surreal because it's been so many years, and it's I had my mom told me someone we knew was in the planes and all that. So yeah, ugh, yeah.
That was a rough day, man. I was in college. It was rough.
Huh. Yeah. So overall, I love the battle. I do agree with Jeff. It's not as strong as the beginning, but it's really good. It's jam packed. Just questionable character decisions from our characters, but whatever. It's a great film. I enjoy it. Highly recommend watching it.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. All right. So let's go with some ratings here. What would you give the film, folks? Starting with you, Jeff. 1 out of 10, sir. What would you give it?
Tough one. I don't like to think about it until we actually get to this point. I'd say probably, and I do that purposely because I like to hear what other people have to say about the film before I think about it. Basically, I'd have to nail it down at probably a 8.75.
Andres?
8 out of 10. It's very good. It's not Maury's best work, but it's really, really good. I mean, it's Saved by Leo and Daniel Day-Lewis performance, and he should have been the winner for 2002 Best Actor. But hey, that's my opinion.
Agreed.
Excellent. I would give it a solid 10. It gets a 10 for me for the fact that there was so much yummy prostitutes going on in it. That right there, that right there makes it a 10 for me.
Love prostitutes. Love them.
Not just that, folks. Jesus Christ, we think just that. No, it gets a solid 10 because of Daniel Day-Lewis. Daniel Day-Lewis was the man in this. He was so freaking awesome. One of his best, I think, roles that I have seen from him. I really enjoyed him the most in this film out of all the films I've seen of him. There Will Be Blood was really fantastic as well. Phantom Thread. I mean, anything he's in, he's always fantastic. But definitely this portrayal of Bill the Butcher was phenomenal in my case, and that's why I give it a 10. But going off of the winning there, the Oscars, just to kind of wrap this up real quickly. Now, even though this movie didn't win any Oscars, it did win some other awards that it got nominated for. So it actually got Best Actor in a Lead Role at the British Academy Film Awards. Daniel Day-Lewis won for that. Then the Chicago Film Critics Association, Daniel Day-Lewis won for Best Actor. At Critics' Choice Awards, Daniel Day-Lewis won for Best Actor at that. At the Florida Film Critics Circle Awards, both Daniel Day-Lewis and Martin Scorsese won for Best Actor and Best Director. And then Martin Scorsese won the Golden Globe for Best Director, along with Best Original Song by Bono, The Edge, Adam Clayton, and Larry Mullen for the song The Hands That Built America. Then at the Los Angeles Film Critics Association Awards, Best Actor went to Daniel Day-Lewis, and then Best Production Design won for Gangs of New York. Daniel Day-Lewis won Best Actor at the New York Film Critics Circle the same year. Online Film Critics Society, Daniel Day-Lewis won Best Actor. The San Diego Film Critics Society gave Best Actor, Best Drama, Best Art Direction, and Best Actor and Best Drama for San Diego. But then the Satellite Awards, they won for Best Art Direction and Best Editing. And then the Screen Actors Guild Award, Daniel Day-Lewis won Best Actor. And he at the Kilmer Film Critics Circle, he also won Best Actor. So even though they didn't win any Oscars, they still won quite a few other awards, which I thought was still nice to see that Daniel Day-Lewis got the recognition and Marty got the recognition a little bit from the other critics and so forth for this film. So I thought that was nice to see that they won that stuff. All right, folks. So that is Gangs in New York review. Want to thank you for watching, and those that watch afterwards, you guys rocking it. Thank you for watching. So we will do plugs and get the hell out of here.
Hell yeah, baby! And I forgot that the 2 Towers again. The 2 Towers came out that year. Russell Crowe won Best Actor. Holy shit!
Yep, Beautiful Mind.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to think about that. Another show, another time. Anyways, folks, plugs, highlighting. First off, Mr. Time Cop, Time Lord, sir. I'm just Pop Culture Guy. Channel presents. Starting off, please.
Sure.
Listen to the man.
Yeah, so this is Bat Lord.
Fucking Bat Lord.
Yes, thank you.
Take it a drink.
Booze and chill.
Drink, bitch.
Yes. Andreas Pop Culture Guy channel presents. I'm up to 885 subscribers. Big takeoff today, which was great. Yeah, just recently post my rock review. Check it out. Tomorrow I'm gonna post a new start of a comic book series. Check that out. And then hopefully I will do a Lego movie review because this is 10th anniversary this month. So we'll do that. Next Sunday, not this Sunday, next Sunday, I'm gonna tell Jeff that we're gonna do a live stream review, and it's gonna be 22 Jump Street.
See the Cyber? He says she rejects me. Now he's dabbing me.
Oh yeah, I'm dabbing you. That's right. Just tell you what it is, Jeff. So yeah, so next Sunday, whenever that is, next Sunday, we're gonna have a live stream on 22 Jump Street, and then of course go over some of the big geek news that we have to discuss and get that over it. So yeah, that's where I'm at. Please, awesome. So please, help me and Cyber hit that century mark for 2024, and then we should be good.
Hell yeah. I've never seen that movie before.
Oh, 22 Jump Street?
Nah, I didn't see either one of them. No.
Oh my god. They're so funny. They're one of the best comedy films, as of late.
Well, you should be surprised. I haven't seen shit compared to you guys. Come on.
Yeah. I think you will like it. It will definitely make you laugh. So
okay. Well, if you think so, sir, then I'm sure I will.
Yeah. I mean, it's rated R, so you should be happy.
Hey, thanks, Cyber. There we go, Cyber. Now I did it.
Jesus fucking Christ.
I know, bro. This is ridiculous. I'm telling you right now. No, I did it. Time Cop, you're fucking me up, man. Anyways, now to Cyberneticshark, veteran content creator and YouTuber. You did an excellent job moderating, holding it down in the big chair, the big boy chair tonight.
Good job. Great job, Cyber. We love it.
Cyber, you are the best.
All right, folks. If you like me as a moderator, or you enjoy me on the panel here on the MC's Bleeding Edge, you can definitely check my solo content out under Cyberneticshark. You can see there my most recent review is the Iron Claw. Definitely check that out. Great movie, really fun, really well done. Definitely I think an Oscar contender, but unfortunately it did not get nominated for anything. So I'm really shocked by that because it was just really phenomenal. Probably one of the best A24 films I've seen. So if you haven't watched it yet, check out that review on it. It's a really great film. I also actually put up a couple new mini reviews for you guys too. I'll be having a whole bunch of trailer reactions coming out soon for a whole bunch of upcoming films that are coming out, from Despicable Me 4 to Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2, and so forth. I did a mini review, of course, of Batman Year 1 and The Boys in the Boat. And you can check those out. Really fun little shorts. And I'll have more and more stuff for you coming up. hopefully some more movie reviews for you guys soon. Keep an eye out. We probably will be doing a Madam Web review for you guys here soon.
Hell yeah.
And, just keep on trucking. Help me and Andres get to the magic 1,000 mark. You guys are rocking. Thank you for all those that subscribe, all new subscribers, all old subscribers. And thank you very much for watching. We appreciate it.
Cyber, I would have loved to have seen your full-blown 20-minute review of Echo. I would definitely have watched the whole fucking thing just to listen to you fucking beat that series up, man. I would love the shit out of it. I'm serious. You would have massacred it. I would have enjoyed the shit out of it. Seriously. Even knowing that I actually thought that it might be okay, and then thought even the first episode was somewhat okay. I even feel like an asshole. I would still enjoy it. I like him. Folks, Cyber's good at beating the shit out of films when he reviews bad films. He's very good at it. He's not an asshole about it. He's not like me fucking swearing and all that shit. Whatnot. He does it in a professional manner. Not Bleeding Edge style. Thank you very much, folks. I hope you enjoyed the show. Cyberneticshark, you killed it as always, sir. You are an excellent moderator, sir. Thank you so much. We really appreciate you. You're a good friend. I'm just a pop culture guy. Our best friend relationship that just was established is a little shaky already. But I still love you to death, sir. We love all of you. Take care. God bless you. Please stick with the Bleeding Edge. We have lots of good shit coming up. We actually, we've just found out we are potentially going to review, I guess it's called Knuckle, on Paramount Plus.
Knuckles.
That Cyber would be better at explaining, comes off the Sonic the Hedgehog sort of like universe, I believe. But the trailer looks really dope. And we've got that in the pipeline. And I guess what would be in fall.
April.
Yep. We're going to do Shogun. And then at the end of February. And Andres, the Pop Culture and I, on Mondays, the Bleeding Edge Report, are going to be doing Rick and Michonne.
Yes, very soon.
The Walking Dead spinoff series.
Yes.
Right? I believe on the 28th.
Yeah. Then in 2 or 3 weeks, yeah.
The day after the first episode drops, we're going to review the first episode.
Yeah.
It'll be great. 6 episodes. It'll be fun. And we still got original Espen Animated series reviews going on, too. We're going back to them on Monday.
Yes, we will.
Anyways, folks, take care. Please enjoy the rest of your weekend. We'll see you soon. Goodbye. Peace. Laters.
Just let a man breathe and just hush so my mind could just cease, so my mind don't erupt. At times I feel I can't get enough, but I sip a double cup and I spin a couple bucks, sending out some love.